Shalom Aleichem, Mishpachim. As you can see, I don't know if you know what this is. All you Chabadniks might know, but this is a Chayenu pamphlet or booklet with all studies in it. It's got Torah with Rashi. It's got some Hasidus studies in it. Hayom Yom, Rambam, Tanya, Tehillim. Here we go. Rambam Sefer HaMitzvos, Mishnah Torah, Daily Wisdom, Tanakh. It's got all of this stuff in here. This is a wonderful booklets of Chayenu studies on Torah and on Torah-related teaching studies. So yeah, I'm so happy I signed up for this, and they sent me for the whole month. For this whole month, they sent me several packets. So yeah, this is going to be a wonderful time of study. All right, well, I'm going to read Rashi, Torah actually, with Rashi for the second reading. The second Aliyah. So I will begin. Torah is on top, Rashi is on the bottom. As you can see, Rashi and Torah. I will read the daily synopsis, beginning first. Yehuda's display of self-sacrifice for Binyamin convinced Yosef that his brothers had truly repented of their former animosity toward him. He therefore revealed his true identity to them. They were understandably afraid that he would take revenge on them, but Yosef assured them that he viewed the entire episode as divine providence and did not bear any personal grudge against them. Verse 31, Torah. Torah on top, Rashi on the bottom. It will be that when he sees that the boy is not with us, he will die. And thus your servants will bring the old age of your servant, our father, down to the grave. Rashi, verse 31. And a fatal accident may happen to him, for Satan accuses at a time of danger. You will then bring my old age. Now, when he is with me, in him I find comfort for the loss of his mother and his brother. But if he would die, it would be to me as though the three of them had died on the same day. Verse 32, Torah. Now your servant has vouched for the boy to my father, saying, if I do not bring him to you, I shall have sinned to my father for all time. Verse 32, Rashi. It will be that when he sees that the boy is not with us, his father will die as a result of his anguish. I think I messed that up. I think this was verse 30. All right. Here's 32. But let me read for 31. Or here's 32. Now your servant, Rashi, now your servant has vouched for the boy. Should you ask why am I contending this case more than my other brothers? I answer, they are all external to this matter. But I have tied myself to it with a firm bond by accepting to be an outcast in both worlds, if I do not bring him back. Verse 33, Torah. So now, please let your servant remain as a slave to my Lord instead of the boy, and let the boy go up with his brothers. Verse 33, Rashi. So now, please let your servant remain as a slave. In all aspects, I am superior to him in strength for battle and to serve. Verse 34, Torah. For how can I go up to my father when the boy is not with me? If only I would not have to see the misfortune that would befall my father. All right. Verse 1, chapter 45. Yosef could not abide the presence of all those standing around him. So he announced, "Remove every man from my presence." Thus no man stood in Yosef's presence when he made himself known to his brothers. Verse 1, Rashi. Literally, Yosef could not withhold himself before all those standing. Means Yosef could not abide. That's Mitzrim would be standing by him and hearing how his brothers were ashamed when he made himself known to them. Verse 2, Torah. Right here. He began to weep loudly. The Mitzrim heard, and even Paro's household heard. Verse 3, Yosef said to his brothers, "I am Yosef. Is my father still alive?" But his brothers could not answer him, for they were embarrassed from him. Verse 2, Rashi. And even Paro's, literally house heard, means here, Paro's household, his servants and the members of his household. This does not mean an actual house, but has a similar meaning to the house, the people of Israel. The house, the people of Yehuda. Mesnid in Old French, household. Verse 3, Torah. Yosef said to his brothers, "I am Yosef. Is my father still alive?" But his brothers could not answer him, for they were embarrassed from him. Verse 3, they were bewildered before him, out of shame. Verse 4, Yosef then said to his brothers, "Please come closer to me." And they drew closer. He then said, "I am Yosef, your brother, whom you sold to Mitzrayim." All right, verse 4, "Please come closer to me." He saw them recoiling and said to himself, "Now my brothers feel ashamed." He therefore called them with mild and entreating words and showed them that he was circumcised. Verse 4, Torah. "Now, however, do not be upset or angry with yourselves that you sold me here, for God has sent me ahead of you to be a provider of sustenance for you." Verse 4, Rashi, means to be a provider of sustenance for you. Verse 5, Torah. "For these 2 years of famine in the land have already passed, and there will be another 5 years when there will be no plowing or reaping." All right. Verse 5, Rashi. "For these 2 years of famine," means 2 years have passed of the years of famine. Verse 6, Torah. "But God has sent me ahead of you to prepare that there be a remainder of you in the land, and to sustain you, so that a great number of you survive." That's Vav. All right, and that is it. That is the Torah reading, the second Aliyah. Let's see. Daily Wisdom, page 121. Here we go. This is the Daily Wisdom on what we just read, titled Minimizing Discipline. Joseph said to his brothers, "Make haste and go up to my father." At this moment, Joseph realized that he and his father had been separated from one another for exactly 22 years. He understood prophetically that this was divine Providence's way of rectifying Jacob's failure to honor his parents during the 22 years he was separated from them. Now that the 22 years were up, Joseph urged his brothers to hastily bring their father to Egypt, so that his punishment of separation could end without even one moment of unnecessary delay. This teaches us that although discipline and corrective punishment are at times necessary, we must limit our use of such measures to the absolute minimum. The very moment that they become unnecessary, we must immediately and urgently revert to the ways of kindness and affection. I'm sorry, that was not the correct one. So this is the correct one for what I just read. I didn't look up. So here we go. For Monday, this is what is going to be wisdom on the Torah that I just read. Influencing the whole world. But God has sent me ahead of you. When God arranged for Joseph to rule over Egypt, this included the mandate to positively influence it spiritually as well. Therefore, in alluding to his position and ability, Joseph made it clear to his brothers that he was not acting as their emissaries, but as God's. It was not you who sent me here, but God. He has made me ruler over all Egypt. Inasmuch as Egypt is the archetype of all exiles, Joseph was also granted the ability to positively influence reality in general, even during exile. Nowadays, this ability is vested in Joseph's heirs, the spiritual leaders of each generation. When we act as their emissaries, inspired, empowered, and guided by them, we too possess the ability to affect the entire world positively. We do this by encouraging our fellow Jews to fully embrace the teachings of the Torah, and by encouraging all humanity to embrace the 7 Noahide laws as God's will for them conveyed in his Torah. All right, and that is weekly studies in Chayenu, Parshas Vayigash, the second Aliyah in Parshas Vayigash, in the book of Genesis. All right, have a wonderful day. Boker Tov.